Hey everybody! So here I am again with my first video of the series that we are going to do together, the study of the book Nosso Lar in Portuguese. In English is Astral City by Chico Xavier. Stay here with me. Before I start, I want to bring a briefly information that who was Chico Xavier. So he was a Brazilian. He was born in 1910 in Minas Gerais, in the state in Brazil. And he was a medium that he psychographed over 400 books, to be more precise, 468 books. And he also psychographed about 10,000 letters. So for those who doesn't know what psychographic come from a Greek word that psyche means soul and graphic means writing. So how exactly work? Chico Xavier, he has many abilities, ways that he can communicate with spirit. When I use the word spirit here, I am using the meaning of a being that is not in this realm anymore as us with a human body. That being is already in a different realm. Disincarnate, we could use the word dead. So the spirit dictate what he writes. So over his life, he communicate with different spirits. In this book, the spirit who was communicating with him was André Luiz. André Luiz was a doctor that after he passed away, he decided to come and communicate with us that is still incarnated, communicated to anybody who decided to read the book. In the last video, I told you guys why exactly I decided to do this. And everything started with questions that I was having, such as where I was before I born, where I'm going after I die, am I only this body? I wasn't able to answer these questions by myself. So I started to read. For me, that book made a lot of sense, a lot, in different levels. So this is why I chose to start this journey with this book, because I'm not saying that everything is written in this book I am agreeing or the only truth. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: there is a lot of in this book that people, and myself included, of course, can learn or at least question, right? Or at least like, I think that makes sense, or no, maybe not, this doesn't make sense for me, and that is okay, right? There is a lot of things here you're gonna see as we go that I disagree, but still a lot of things here that is worth it to put the thought on and try to investigate it, or at least questions. I think question is curiosity. Why exactly the spirit, the beings that are not in this dimension, chose to come and talk to us? Why? Explain to us that is still here in this body that there is life after death. When I say life after death, it's like after this body disappear, this is organic, when this body is not here anymore, where my soul goes. With André Luiz, we're going to answer a lot of questions and also have more questions. That this is, I think we continue with a lot of questions, right? But I think at least it's a start. It's a point start for us to question.
So how the book start? The book start with Emmanuel. So who was Emmanuel? So Emmanuel was one of the angels. I could use, there is a lot of words that you can use, but like he was the first being that Chico Xavier saw. So he appears to him when he was about 21 years old. And then he told that he would need three things in there in his life: discipline, discipline, and discipline. That he was about to write, like he was assist them by writing. He was with Chico Xavier towards his life. He dictate a lot of books that Chico Xavier wrote, but this specific book was guided by the spirit of André Luiz. Emmanuel started this book. So André Luiz comes to tell us that the greatest surprise of physical death is that it places us face to face with our own conscience. He reminds us that the earth is a sacred workshop and that is nobody will despite it without paying the price for the terrible errors that which he or she has subject his or her own heart. Talk a little bit about this when he used the word pay, despite paying the price. And it's a little bit hard, isn't it? Like pay the price. I wouldn't use that word. I would use is action and reaction, right? Is a consequence. So when we go here, start a message from André Luiz, and he already start. Life never ceases. Life is an eternal fount, and death is the only and obscure game of illusion. The closing of our corporeal eyes is a very simple process. I felt like I had lost all notions of time. The idea of space had left me long ago. I was sure that I no longer belonged to this incarnate ranks of the world. How long had I been the puppet of irresistible force? It was impossible to tell. Actually, I felt like a prisoner trapped behind the dark bars of horror. Let's think the scenario here. So he woke up and he didn't know where he was. He knew that he wasn't alive, but was a lot of questions like, who am I? What is this? And then there is a part of the book that describing how he was feeling. It was a very dark place. So he was begging for mercy. He was suffering, but he doesn't know who to ask. Like he was questions. Where was his wife? His life? Where was he? Where I am? Where is my people? Where is like my people, right? Because we are so selfish. Like where is my kid? Where is my life? Wife, husband, whatever that is, right? My conscience tormented me. I would have much preferred a total absence of reason or non-existence. This is the tricky part, because when you don't ask those questions and you just believe that when you die is the end, and then you just woke up in a place that are like, what's happening here? Am I dead? Like, why I am not dead? I am alive. Oh, I am alive, but I didn't understand that I am alive without my body. This might be horrifying. At this moment, I am living as Cynthia, but there is a soul. That is whatever you guys would like to call, like a soul, a higher conscience. This body is organic. This body will disappear. But the higher conscience that is making me talk, this won't die. This is a conscious. So he said, I prefer that I don't have non-conscious, because now he's facing something that he had no idea that was possible. From the beginning, tears had run constantly down my face, and I only rarely enjoyed the blessing of sleep. However, any feeling of the rest was suddenly interrupted. Creatures would awaken me. I had to get away from them. Was when I realized I was in a different sphere. So he used the word sphere. And that arose from the dust of the earth. But it was too late. Let's take a scenario here. He was living his life, then he just woke up in a place that he realized that it's not the end. Can you imagine how difficult, how horrible this would be for those who believe that when your organic body die and then you just realize it's not? It must be horrifying. I had come to realize that humankind was not compromised of transitory lifetime, but of eternal spirits on their way to a glorious destination. I could see that something stand above every merely intellectual thought. Think about it. He was a doctor. He probably was a very rational person. Probably cure and help a lot of people with his knowledge, with a mental knowledge, but he never had realized There is something above this, his qualification. And then the chapter continues with him realizing that he wasn't a criminal, but there was a lot of things that he failed to do. So he mentioned this part here. I had never contributed anything towards repaying my enormous debt. I had parents whose generosity and sacrifice I never appreciate, and a wife and children whom I'm fiercely imprisoned, unwilling web of destruction, selfish. The book doesn't say how long he stayed there in our time, years, we don't know, but probably for a long time. Was then when he started to realize that he wasn't a criminal. Some people would say, I didn't do nothing bad, but actually didn't do nothing good. Life is not only being not doing bad. What are you doing for your friend, for your family, for yourself? What are you doing for your coworker? What are you doing for the humankind? What are you doing for the earth? It's not about, oh, I'm not a bad person. Not being a bad person is not enough. And we need to stop with this, that I'm not a bad person. But so what are you doing to help this earth erase its energy? And I'm going to finish this chapter with this part that he says. Oh, dear friends on earth, how many of you could avoid the bitter path of sorrow by cultivating the inner fields of your own hearts? Light your lamps before crossing the great darkness. Seek the truth before the truth finds you unprepared. Sweat and work now, lest your weep later. Search for the truth. What is the truth? What is the truth? I choose to have an idea that what is written in this book is a piece of the truth. And I chose to believe there is life after death. And I'm not here to convince anybody. This is not my goal. I am here to share my experience because I believe, because I know there is life after death, that life is a workshop now in this human body, and do the best that I can. Best as a person, as a mother, as a sister, as a wife, as a friend, as a citizen. Citizen, not only Canadian citizen, Brazilian citizen, a world citizen. Because I am in this planet. And it's hard. It's not easy. I'm not sitting here and telling you guys that it is easy, because it's not. Sometimes I have a lot of rage inside of me. I am a human being. I get mad. I get mad so many times with my kids. I get mad with my husband. I get mad with family members. Yes. I get disappointed. But I am aware. And when I stop and I listen, like I acknowledge that I am mad, breathe, and understand what's happening. What is happening right now? What is trigger me? Why what he says trigger me? Why that scream of my kid just put me somewhere? I can feel the energy moving, and I feel in my body. I do. I used to scream a lot with my kid. And I remember judging when I didn't have kids. I'm talking about myself, right? I was such a judger. I had that false belief that I was never gonna scream with my kids. All right, fine. I scream a lot, and I have both. I have 2 kids now. Now able to stop before I see my energy moving. And guys, it's funny because I literally could feel the rave come through my body. I work a lot with energy. Like I notice a lot the energy in my body, and I could see the signs that my body is giving to me. I feel warm, my heart goes fast, I am close to scream. But this is a fraction of a second. I couldn't even identify in time how this is very, very fast. I have to have a self-aware constantly. And I'm not saying that every time is perfect. It's not. It's not. It's like when you're in diet. Well, it's not like, okay, you decide to do a diet for a period of time this is something that happened to me all the time of my life. And I understand that it's not about the diet. It's about a style, how I choose to live my life. And I do this comparison exactly with my spiritual life, the way I live my life. And everything starts with that space. You know, this space between one word to another word, that space. When we are able to give space to us, a little bit space before the screaming, a little bit of space before you decide to gossip about someone else, a little bit of space before you say a word that is not kind. It's a process, not easy. Some days are better than others. It's a path. And I would finish this with, we are here in a workshop that I believe I would like, when I finish this time and space, to be able, that I was able to walk a couple more steps up in this journey that is this workshop that we are. Learn something, was able to get better than I came. This is really my hope for me. This is how I choose to live my life. It's challenging, very challenging, but I believe it's also doable. I do believe, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. I have to keep trying. And I'm going to try every single day of my life, every single moment, get a better person. This is what I have for today. So we finished the chapter 1. I see you guys next week with the chapter 2. I hope you enjoy it.